As farmers, we face a number of challenges that can potentially affect what happens behind our farm gate. Many of these, such as climatic conditions, commodity prices, foreign exchange, are beyond our control. Last season was a dramatic demonstration that volatility in our industry can come in many forms. But being actively involved in your co-op will provide you with the options and enable you to make timely choices as to how you operate in relation to this behind the farm gate. And as the cornerstone shareholder, the Council's functions of representation, education, advocacy and importantly monitoring are in place to help you in this regard. Fonterra is a complex business, and the Performance Committee's role for the Shareholders' Council is to monitor and comment on the financial performance of Fonterra, with a statement of intentions as the main point of reference. So Fonterra achieved a milk price of $5.84 against a target of $5.25. The financial year 2013 demonstrated the impact weather had not only with regard to on-farm performance, but also on the performance of Fonterra. Global milk supply was impacted by the drought in New Zealand. This was compounded by the lower milk production volumes from other Southern Hemisphere dairy exporting countries. This supply constraint resulted in a sharp increase in global dairy commodity prices. Fonterra achieved earnings per share of 44 cents against a target of 43. EBIT performance was down 5% or 3% on a normalised basis after adjusting for one-offs. Fonterra achieved a strong performance in the first half of the year, followed by weaker performance in the second half of the year. This contrasting performance highlights the potential for earnings volatility within the business, created by a combination of climatic events, dynamic global commodity price movements, and input costs based on a defined regulatory framework. The rate of the commodity price increases was greater than what the consumer businesses were able to pass on to their customers in terms of price increases, which reduced margins. The Australian-New Zealand business did not deliver as expected, and this is due in part to the very tough market conditions it faced. Changes to increase its profitability have been made, and the Council will continue to monitor the performance. The actual gearing ratio is 39.6 versus a target of 36.9. The increase in advance rates to farmers to support them during the drought impacted the operating cash flows and the gearing. This was to the benefit of farmers, and Council supports the decision. Fonterra has maintained a strong balance sheet during 2013. Reduced operating cash flows have meant that both debt and gearing have increased slightly from last year. The fact that the advance rate was increased to farmers, helping smooth the on-farm cash flows, is a testament to the flexibility that is achieved through a strong balance sheet. Return on capital employed was 8.8%, down from 9.3% in 2012 and below the 2013 SOI target of 9.6%. This level of return on capital is at the lower end of what has been achieved by Fonterra over the past 5 years. The decline is a result of the lower EBIT outlined earlier, coupled with an increasing asset base as Fonterra positions itself for future growth. In review, against the SOIs, Fonterra met or exceeded the cash-based targets, payout, dividend and earnings per share. The combination of the impact of dairy milk, particularly late in the season, and losses on long-term liquid milk customer contracts, which are priced quarterly, reduced the contribution from product mix. The greatest mover has been the whole milk powder prices, which is a lead indicator of the milk price. Unfortunately, the upward shift in the value of products outside of those that inform the milk price has not been as significant. This resulted in a margin loss to Fonterra in these product markets. However, it remains important for Fonterra to have a broad product portfolio to service its markets and to balance risk. It is pleasing to see a strong focus on efficiency gains within the business and areas of performance concerns in the ANZ business being addressed. Now that we are in a new environment under TAF, the Council has a greater monitoring role to play. The Council receives a monthly update on actual and potential fund size. As a consequence of the 3-year rolling average measurement of the share standard, the potential fund size has exceeded the 15% threshold. The Board has developed a strategy in acknowledgement of this, and the Council is receiving regular consultation. It is expected that the potential fund size will come back under the threshold at the start of the 2014-15 season. There are quarterly meetings between the Chair of the Board and the Chair of the Council in accordance with the Fund Risk Management Policy. The WPC 80 issue was a demonstration of the risks that are inherent in the dairy industry. The Board review process identified a number of recommendations for the Board to undertake, and the WPC 80 inquiry team has recommended that they review Fonterra's progress on these in 9 and 18 months' time. Furthermore, the Council has confirmed its position as it relates to our ongoing monitoring role. The 9-month review with the Board has been confirmed for July 2014, and there will be ongoing interfaces up to that point. The Representation Committee of Council has been focused on driving shareholder participation in all areas of the co-op. There was an encouraging rise in voting over all categories in the 2012 elections, up 5%. In May, the committee ran a very successful network conference entitled Our Place in the World. It looked at Fonterra's global opportunities and included presentations from key markets and customers from offshore. Moving forward, the committee will focus on better connecting shareholders with the co-op through engagement activities. Within the Council and sitting within the Representation Committee, we have set up a regional engagement group, which is a joint initiative with the Fonterra Board and management. The initiative is in place to form relationships with local regional councillors, have strong awareness of regional issues, and understanding of how these might affect you as local shareholders, and to advocate on these issues on your behalf. Given that all regional councils are currently reviewing their regional plans, we expect to be very active in this space on your behalf. The Co-operative Development Committee has run 3 main programs to enhance shareholder understanding. The Understanding Your Cooperative program, Fonterra in Action seminars, and the Grow Your Mind seminar. Over the past 12 months, more than 1,200 shareholders have attended one of these events. The Governance and Ethics Committee is currently reviewing the ward boundaries of the entire country. The need for additional shareholder representation in the South Island was recognised. In the interim, an extra councillor position was allocated towards 31, 32 and 33 in the 2013 election cycle prior to the completion of the ward boundary review for June 2014. Governance and Ethics are also tasked with overseeing the director elections and have worked with Fonterra management to improve the planning processes around the elections. Looking forward, the Council's advocacy role will be vital. One of the greatest challenges we face comes in the form of proposed government legislation. Regional councils nationwide are being charged by the government with implementing the requirements of the National Policy Statement for Freshwater Management. Our ability to grow milk production sustainably in New Zealand underpins not only the Fonterra strategy, but also the health and well-being of our own farm businesses and that of the country. And as such, there is a real requirement to ensure that any actions expected of us have the desired effect on water quality, and careful consideration is given to the application of the principles and the measurements used to determine this. We are all aware that society, its expectations, and our operating environments have changed, and we need to continue to evolve and adapt to these challenges. To ensure that we retain our freedom to farm, to grow our milk solids, and maintain our competitive advantage, it is necessary to continually work toward actions we can take on farm to improve water quality. The economic sustainability of our businesses require this focus. As your representatives, we have been working to ensure that we have a seat at the discussion table and that farmers' voices are heard. It's appropriate that the industry works together to ensure that any decisions made at a regulatory level are based on solid evidence and a set of balanced viewpoints, not emotion. So advocating on your behalf is a key function of our cornerstone shareholder role. All Fonterra farmers need to take an active interest and participate in these issues. It is my view that if we do not all become involved in this space, others will, and the result won't be to our advantage. So your council will continue to lead the way on this. We will ensure that the farmers' voice is heard and work hard to protect our competitive advantage and create value for Fonterra.